Hello, James, Rosika, here at the popcorn counter. Do you see that woman over there at the end of the counter?
I recognize that woman, I think.
She reminds me of one of those women, like an actor in a film who just starts singing suddenly at a counter. Hello, my name. That's their Maria. That's her stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna that happens in some of my least favorite films.
Oh,
yes.
Life is a musical.
If this was a Bollywood film, then not only would everybody else in the cinema would also join in, and we'd all be dancing.
That's right.
And that's the way to do it, I think.
We'd have to go over singing to her. What's your name? What's your name?
Maria.
You go, oh, there she did. I knew it. I pegged her. Who is this person at the popcorn counter?
I do believe it may well be Ines Braga back. We managed to not completely scare her off last week. I think she must have come back after your revelation that you are actually a conductor.
Well, I think this moment will scare her off forever. So, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around at the popcorn counter, Ines.
Thank you. It's my absolute pleasure.
So, do you like musicals?
Is that me?
Yeah.
I don't particularly.
That was thrown out red. No, I was asking the guy behind the counter. Actually. Yeah. But you also, yes.
I am not a great fan of musicals in general, I have to say. But there are some good ones, like West Side Story, that I loved. I actually, my perception changed a bit after I watched The Lion King with the kids in London. And it's such a brilliant, brilliant musical. And then after that, I watched We Will Rock You and many others. And it's quite nice to watch it live. I don't, in terms of films... I find it quite difficult to find the same sort of level of connection with a musical. Sometimes I get a bit annoyed. I remember, like Chicago, I was quite annoyed by it. Yeah. But then I wasn't annoyed by, Whiplash could be called a musical, and La La Land, for instance, I quite enjoyed. But then I was annoyed again by Tick, Tick, Boom. Remember that film? That was also on Netflix, and it had really good reviews, but there was some things I just couldn't really connect with it. But after having watched West Side Story, like, my love for musicals might arise after watching it. I might give it a try.
See, listening to you talk about that, I was starting to spot a pattern, which is that I think musicals on screen that were written for the screen may succeed, right. Whereas ones which are adaptations of stage musicals are less likely to. But then I'm not sure actually whether that is the case. I don't know. I mean, West Side Story was an adaptation of a stage musical, actually, and that works magnificently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, but that's a very good analysis.
My father-in-law for a while used to get, he used to know someone in the theatre kind of business, and he would get these free tickets that basically any show that wasn't selling out, he would have a little bit of a phone call with his friend, and he would get us free tickets. So we went to see years ago, but like a whole bunch of shows for free, which is great. But by definition, the shows that we were going to see were ones where they hadn't been able to sell very many tickets. So we were going to see these shows that were kind of semi-successful. And we did see a series of not that good musicals. Most of which have since disappeared into obscurity, never to be remembered.
Did you watch Desperately Seeking Susan? That was one of them. I used to give out flyers for that at Leicester Square,
Really?
and then I went to watch it, and it was really bad.
I think we watched there was like a Leonardo da Vinci the musical, and there was kind of some kind of like Excalibur the musical, a whole bunch of kind of musicals. We think, why whose idea was that? Was that a good idea? Was that what people were demanding to see? We paid to go and see Back to the Future, the musical, which has travelled the opposite way. So there is a stage musical adaptation of Back to the Future.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
And and that is kind of great fun, but it's only great fun because they sing that Huey Lewis song, The Power of Love, about 2 or 3 times during this show, and then they've written a whole bunch of completely forgettable songs to fill in the gaps in between. Wow. And most of the pleasure comes from seeing the movie recreated on stage. The songs feel like a real sort of afterthought.
I think some of the things that I like, I would call musicals, probably aren't musicals, and I think it's almost more artist generated. Things like Hard Day's Night or The Wall.
Oh yeah, The Wall
or Purple Rain. I mean, are those musicals? But you've got like a proven product already, an artist who knows how to perform. just a matter of transferring their show or some of their lives to screen. So those are films that I think of as musicals, but I don't know that they really would qualify as one.
Does the Taylor Swift movie count as a musical?
Oh yeah, Eras. I haven't seen it. I don't know much about it. It seems to me like it's more a concert film, isn't it? Or...
Yeah, I guess so. It's certainly done gangbusters, hasn't it? It's made fantastic money.
Yeah, God. There's this guy, this Irish director who did that film once, and then he did Begin Again. He was quite good.
I was going to mention that, yeah.
John Carney.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a sincerity about his work that I quite like. I think he did a third one that wasn't so good, but I remember Once was quite good, and Begin Again as well.
Did he do Sing Street? I want to see about the schools, the boys in a...
Did he?
I think they're in a public school somewhere, and they form a band, I believe, because they want to meet this woman who's
he
model.
did. I can see.
Yeah, okay.
John Carney, right? The guy, yeah.
That was actually it was fun. It was a fun coming of age kind of musical. I think for me, the obvious ones, I love Sound of Music.
Yeah.
I've admitted that here on the podcast.
Same team as West Side Story.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Same team, basically.
Yeah, same writer, same director.
So those two are they've got quality in them. Jesus Christ Superstar, I love that movie. I think it actually works really well. I'm not an Andrew Lloyd Webber fan by any means, but I love that show. I love that music, and I think that's a pretty good film.
You know, I've never sat through that, actually.
Mamma Mia is also okay.
Ooh, the ABBA thing, yeah.
Okay.
Never saw. Well, no, I don't think I've ever seen that. I may have seen that on an airplane or a bus.
With she's great. It's with Meryl Streep. Well, loads of amazing actors. Yeah, Meryl Streep's number is brilliant. Yeah, you should watch just for that. And Cher appears on that as well. Yeah, Fernando.
Feels like there was a queue of older Hollywood stars just lining up to be in that Mamma Mia film. There's a lot of big names in there. Okay, so if you don't think Taylor Swift's film is a musical, is Purple Rain a musical?
It has, concert moment excerpts, and it almost becomes music video turned into film. I think it's kind of a musical because it's, as far as I understand, it's quite somewhat autobiographical for Prince. So I think he felt a lot of those feelings, knew a lot of those people, got it into his songs, and then translated it into the film. So again, that's my question. I guess it's probably not a musical. I would like to think of it as a musical because, like you, not a big fan of musicals, and we can talk about why, perhaps. But I'd like to think those are musicals just so that I can say, oh yeah, I like a couple of musicals.
I mean, I would put Purple Rain in the same box as Hard Day's Night. I think.
Okay.
I think they can sit together quite comfortably.
Extended music videos, perhaps.
Yeah. That may be the crux of it. The difference between a musical and a music video. Why do you think you don't like musicals?
They just feel very unnatural to me. That you've got actors who occasionally will bust into song. It just seems very strange to me. And actually, there's this wonderful moment in West Side Story, which we just looked at, where I think it's the I Feel Pretty number, where the four women are in the shop dancing around and singing I Feel Pretty. And then they sort of break into this laugh at the very end. And I think it's kind of a wink to the ridiculousness of musicals and singing the dialogue of the film. Yeah. They all just start laughing, and I think it feels very. I mean, they may be happy with their performance. Maybe they were told to laugh, but it's this wink of how silly musicals really are, and I like that. As long as it's a self-aware musical, I think. I don't know if either one of you has ever seen Umbrellas of Cherbourg, which is every line of dialogue is sung to a Michel Legrand score, and there are these long takes in that film. It's this beautiful film with lots of crane and camera movement. Yeah, I would definitely recommend that because that's a fantastic musical. It's just a great piece of filmmaking, and I don't think there's any spoken dialogue. It really all is sung, so it's kind of on the verge of opera in that sense. And that's with Catherine Deneuve. She's maybe, I don't know, she might still be a teenager at that point, early 20s anyway, when she made that film.
What's that film with Catherine Deneuve as well, Demoiselle de Rochefort as well, where they sing?
I've heard. I've never seen it. Yeah. I've heard of that, but I've never seen it.
It was also a musical, and that was quite. Yeah, the French do it quite well because it doesn't feel so contrived. I guess. Yeah.
I think another thing that I don't like about musicals is that stuff always takes a lot longer to happen in a musical. I always think about good pacing in films, and if you're breaking to go into a musical number or sing your feelings and all that. It just feels like you're taking more time to take the story to paint.
Yeah, you should watch that. It's Jacques Demy.
Okay.
Les Demoiselles de Rochefort with Catherine Deneuve.
All right.
Gene Kelly also. So it's,
Oh,
it's
wow.
definitely, and Michel Piccoli. Yeah. I had it in DVD. Yeah, it's a pretty good musical.
Remember them?
Yeah, exactly. Remember DVDs? Yeah.
Interesting. You maybe think maybe there's another way to classify musicals, so not necessarily just classify them as ones that started on the stage and ones that did not. I think you can also put them into two different boxes. There are musicals where the story stops for everybody to sing a song, and there are musicals where the song progresses the story.
Sure.
I think the good ones will progress the story.
Yeah.
Using a song, and so the characters will end up in a different emotional place at the end of the song than they did at the beginning. You're not stopping and just saying "I feel like this now." You're playing a scene, but it's as a song. I tell you who's good at this, I think, and I'm glad you mentioned Lion King. I think Disney does this very well.
Yeah,
I think
Absolutely.
Frozen. Those songs, move the story along. They actually kind of evolve things, and they reveal things, and they change the characters' feelings about each other.
And Moana, remember we were talking about it.
Absolutely.
Good, so good. Yeah, you're right. Very good.
And even with the Lion King again, I think that those songs aren't frozen in time. Those no pun intended. Those songs are they are more scenes that are moving the story forward.
Pun intended. What do you mean, no pun intended?
It should exist. I've written it in my notes in front of me, so I'm so thick I am. If I see a word, I'll just say it out loud. You'll hear me say La La Land many times in the next few minutes because I've got it written down, next one on my list. La La Land is another one that I really like, actually. I remember a friend of mine seeing La La Land and saying, "Oh, it's rubbish, don't bother, it's terrible." And we sat down to on Valentine's Day evening with kind of like a couple of hours on our own. And we thought, well, let's watch La La Land. And it was so romantic. It was exactly the right film to watch. Just
Exactly.
lovely. I adore that film, actually. I think it's fantastic.
I agree. It's beautiful. I really enjoyed it. And I have the soundtrack as well. It's a really good score. Yeah.
Have either of you ever seen a musical called Paint Your Wagon?
No.
Somehow I can imagine that it was on telly every Christmas when I was a boy at my grandparents' house, but I don't remember ever sitting down to watch it. I think we had a 7-inch single of a song from Paint Your Wagon.
Really?
Oh,
boy.
I believe we did when I was a small boy, yeah.
So you don't know much about it otherwise?
No.
Okay, you're not going to believe...
Clint Eastwood's in it, isn't he? Is that right?
You're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you, but Clint Eastwood sings, Lee Marvin sings.
What?
And Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin they're sort of gold rushers in probably California, 50s, 60s. So it's all about moving out to the West and striking out on your own. And they are both in love with Gene Seberg.
Seems reasonable.
Who they basically share as a partner or a wife. And there's a lot of punching. There's a lot of them beating each other up, but they're also committed to this 3-way relationship with Gene Seberg. It's unbelievable. It's very hard to imagine why that ever got made. It's really good. It's very, very good. And it's just crazy to see these guys singing and being like very, very, very thoughtful lovers and partners in this 3-person relationship, this triangle. It's unbelievable. I do recommend it to everyone.
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Sounds insane.
It is insane.
Insanely brilliant.
I cannot imagine Clint Eastwood holding a note somehow.
He does sing. I've listened to him sing. He you know that he scores most of the films and he plays multiple instruments and he
really?
even sang. Yeah.
Sorry, are we talking about Andres Lorente here again? Or
No.
Clint Eastwood? Which?
Yes.
I don't see myself in that film.
Sometimes he plays Clint Eastwood.
I think more impressive is Lee Marvin because that's just completely unexpected. And but again, it does harken back to that idea I talked about a little bit with West Side Story, that when you're casting for something like this, you need someone who acts, maybe someone who can dance, or at least do choreographed fight scenes. You also need someone who can sing. So you do need actors who are really triple threats to do musicals. And I think that's the other thing is there aren't a whole lot of people who do all those things well. So
we forgot about a good one, Billy Elliot. That's a good one. Yeah.
I do like Billy Elliot. They used to call that Rocky in reverse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, is Wizard of Oz a musical? I think there are enough songs to to say that's true.
Oh,
but
yeah. Wizard of Oz, definitely
Yeah.
a musical, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Have either of you ever been invited to try and write a musical?
Nope.
No, I have.
I'm writing a rom-com, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Which is, yes, can't say much about it, but it's commissioned by Netflix.
Do you reckon you can squeeze some songs in?
Yeah, I'll try. But it's actually I can't really say. But I was thinking, like, what can I say about the film? But there's some musicality about it. If it comes out, I will let you know.
Is it Maestro, the rom-com? Is it?
That would be brilliant, yes.
It's Bernstein, but with more gags this time.
I would love to write one. I have started outlining one, but I also I'm always confused about book versus libretto versus lyrics because it seems like you get various credits on a musical. But I've started sketching one out, and it is exciting to me. But again, may never happen.
I find it so difficult. I would find it completely daunting. I would probably be, freeze and not be able to do anything. I think it would be a good thing to write as a team, right? Like have share like 2 or 3 people writing a musical. I think that would be nice. Just one, I find it like quite a daunting task, to be honest. So we can write it together. Hey,
yes,
we've got the perfect team here.
Lorente can do the conducting and the music.
Exactly, Lorenzo does it all.
Yeah, exactly. You can do the writing, and I can do I don't know, nothing. I think the best solution, if someone asks you to write a musical, is do what Richard Curtis did, which is just steal a whole bunch of Beatles songs and sandwich them into your film in Yesterday.
Exactly.
Because you kind of no one's going to complain about the music then, are they?
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to take 12 incredible pop music standards, and you could probably stitch together any old crummy film around the outside of those, and it would still be fine.
And even then, the film wasn't that great.
Oh no.
But then was that largely because of who's the red-headed guy who was in that film? Really famous British pop star at the moment. His name I can't remember.
Not that famous then.
I think it's the age, Sorrenti. I feel like I'm getting totally senile. It's an aging thing.
Is it Lee Marvin? Was it Lee Marvin? Is that right? Lee Marvin?
Lee Marvin? Let me see.
That would be great. Which one are you talking about? Is this Yesterday? No.
Yesterday.
Yeah, Yesterday.
Oh, Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran, that's it.
Exactly. Ed Sheeran.
See, you are young after all.
I can't believe we couldn't remember his name.
So it just goes to show that even with Beatles songs, Ed Sheeran can still ruin it, I suppose. I've never met Ed Sheeran. Maybe he's a lovely guy, but
he is a bit annoying.
I've slightly heard too much of him on the radio over the last 10 years, though. I kind of think, make room for somebody else, Ed. Go on.
But that's not why we're here at the popcorn counter. We're not here to hate on Ed Sheeran.
That's true. No, we are here mostly to sing to each other and eat popcorn.
Have cups of tea.
And watch a movie.
And eat popcorn.
We need to get in the theater. We need to go be quiet somewhere. I think that's what it is. Oh, James, the cough.
You're still alive?
I could hold a tune no better than Clint Eastwood now.